Well, would you look at that? This is Corey, and this is the O The Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. It is 8:40 p.m. Pacific time. That makes it 11:40 p.m. Eastern time. And O The Anthem is live from coast to coast, coming to you from the hashtag OTALA studios in beautiful downtown LA. God, it's already a train wreck. This is episode 183 of the podcast. Welcome, everybody.
It's a hashtag OTA after dark. This is what happens when we don't record until the very last minute. We do it after dark.
And you were working all weekend, and I worked all day today, and I am super tired, so that's going to be fun. Yeah, guys.
It's a shame you didn't get off for Columbus Day.
Yeah, I know. Well, one, I don't celebrate Columbus Day. That's not what I do.
Right. What do you celebrate?
I celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day, like the good people in the city of Seattle.
Okay.
Where we celebrate the people who were harmed by Columbus and not Columbus himself.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a mixed bag with Columbus because, you know, we wouldn't be here without Columbus.
Yeah.
We being the white people.
Or
the
just
people who
anybody who is currently here.
Yeah, I was going to say the people who are
there's
almost
a chance
blending into the wall behind us.
There's a chance that, if Columbus, even if you're second generation American from Mexican parents or something like that, then there still might be a chance that the America that you know now wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Columbus.
Well,
whether or not he murdered people or not.
Well, you may not know this, but what we call Hispanic people in the Americas is Latinos.
Yeah.
And that comes from the term La Tainos, which is the natives, but not really the natives. It's the natives who interbred with the Spanish who came here from Columbus.
Yeah.
Which is why modern Mexican people and people from all stripes, but not so much in the Caribbean, but South America and Mexico specifically, look much more like continental Spaniards than they do like native people from South America.
I have one thing to say to that. Okay.
But you guys may be seeing maybe a longer explanation of Columbus Day coming in the next few days. So keep an eye out for that.
Yes.
We're considering doing a little something with that. So keep an eye out for that. But it is Columbus Day. For those of you who work for the federal government, enjoy your paid day off.
Yeah, enjoy your no mail today.
And enjoy the mail today. Hope you weren't waiting on something important like a check or anything like that, because it had to be frustrating. Yeah.
Yes.
But for the rest of us, and not by the rest of us, I mean me, not anybody else on this podcast. Some people got to sit at home all day.
I played Madden.
And play video games. But yeah, so today was a day off, and not a day off from controversy. There's a day off in Washington, D.C. Congress is not in session.
Right.
People who work for the federal government had the day off.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we still can't get away from the controversy. I don't really understand.
Which controversy?
Well, so I guess it didn't really happen today, but it's brewing. It's been brewing over the weekend. And you threw me for a loop in our pre-show meeting because I had this entire thing planned out about how Vice President Pence visited Indianapolis, went to a Colts game, and the picture that he posted on his personal Twitter, or I guess the Vice President Twitter, was a repost from 2 years ago where he went to a different Colts game. But then you showed me a picture that showed him in different dress and
he was in the suit.
Yeah, he
was
but
without
in the suit.
tie because it's business or it's casual Sunday.
Yeah, but it's after 6, so what am I, a farmer? So it was weird because nobody's showing that picture. I don't know who took that picture.
See, but here's the thing, and can I for just a second go back to Columbus?
Okay.
In regards to this. I feel, and this really ties into like every story we're really going to talk about this week, because it's people so quick to come up with what the truth is about a matter.
Okay.
It's wanting to get the I gotcha moment, and I'm not trying to use that term like Palin used it, like,
right.
Like they're out to get me kind of thing. But we as consumers of the world, consumers of the news, consumers of information are so quick to try and get to one side or the other. Or, if anybody has some sort of complicated history that goes in many different ways, it's so tough to do this. Are
you about to pull out a Christopher Columbus defense that involves us jumping to conclusions?
No, but I'm going to say this. We in the opening here acknowledged that, without Christopher Columbus, everything might be different.
Right.
So there's an aspect of everybody was invading and killing the locals.
Were they though?
There was a lot of it going on.
Who was the first
Are
one
we
doing
are
that?
we not are we not going to include like pretty much every single invasion of Britain into any place where they didn't extinctify a large degree of the locals that happened?
This is where your lack of historical knowledge really comes into play. Because how much exploration were the British doing in the 1480s and 1490s?
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
Yeah.
You know who was doing the vast majority of it?
The Romans? Yeah, I know.
The Romans?
I know. I just threw out a random guess.
It was the Portuguese.
Okay.
Shout out to Lucy, our local Portuguese offspring.
Portuguese speaker?
Yes, she's a speaker, but she's also, much like the Latinos and the Spanish, the modern Brazilian people are descendants of Portuguese explorers who interbred with the natives there. But nonetheless, so the Portuguese were exploring Africa. And Columbus had this crazy idea about crossing going west
to get to India. Yeah.
And he accidentally discovered a whole new continent. If he hadn't done that, maybe they would have still come, but maybe not.
Yeah.
Because he searched for like 10 years to get funding for this mission.
Right.
No one would fund it for him.
But you understand, I'm not talking about like, yes, the coming across and killing people is not a great start.
Right.
For trying to acknowledge somebody's history. And I'm not trying to say that we should necessarily celebrate Columbus Day.
Okay.
But I'm saying we are just so quick to get to the final judgment on whoever it is, right?
Okay.
So the people who really don't like the fact that Mike Pence was going to the game to walk out.
Right, which is what he did.
Yeah. Again, for understandable reasons, are trying so hard to make everyone just hate Mike Pence in this situation.
Yeah.
So people have the ability to put out pictures of him like slightly different from a picture he took 4 years ago and act like he did it today.
But he did do that.
No, but I'm saying I'm not saying it. He could have posted the picture going like, here's a picture of us at the game. It's really good.
Right.
Like it didn't have to be the picture. Whatever.
That's not what he did though.
I'm just saying.
I'm just trying to bring a little truthfulness to the situation.
You were acting like I have to believe this tweet like as some sort of big, gotcha moment because I have a picture of him at the game in a suit standing there.
Yes, there is
like,
a picture.
There's enough here to be mad at Mike Pence about. We don't have to go 3-dimensional chess and figure out like how we can tie his Twitter account into why I'm mad at like.
By the way,
if Mike Pence on Twitter said like, Christopher Columbus is awesome, y'all are babies, this is fucking ridiculous, and I'm gonna go kill a Native American right now, then everybody would understandably be upset with Mike Pence about the use of his Twitter account.
Yes.
I.e. the president above him.
Yes.
But I'm saying like let's not fret over the little thing that happened that is wrong, and let's focus on the things that are right, and let's understand. God, it's just I've been so mad about like this whole week, just people just trying to get like we'll get to the Vegas shooter, but people who want to like understand like his entire motive and like why he did things in like 2 days.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen that fast.
Okay,
it takes hundreds of years to understand or to get to the point where Christopher Columbus goes from like a pioneering explorer to murderer. It takes a while. Let's not try and jump to these conclusions as quickly as humanly possible.
What you're saying is you're defending Mike Pence.
He is pretty much in
his actions. But I do want to say one aside.
I'm not.
It's interesting you call it.
I think the actual action of him going to the game on taxpayer money, getting a hotel, making other people like fucking wait in longer lines to go see like real cult fans inconvenience them by him going and doing this stunt. Like it costs $300,000 and it's ridiculous.
Well, let's break it down.
Yeah,
because he took Air Force 2. Which runs about $50,000 an hour,
right,
to run.
A smidge under 50, but the amount of time it would have been about $200,000 worth of fuel and staffing.
When the staff comes with them, and they book hotel rooms for the staff and for Secret Service.
Yeah,
and usually they book out an entire floor of a hotel. So the cost of the floor of the hotel, extra security by the local police. Extra security at the game itself. And he stayed for the first half?
Yeah.
First quarter?
Oh, not even. He didn't even stay for the game.
And he chose to go for the game where they were playing the San Francisco 49ers, a team that has knelt at every game since Colin Kaepernick started his protest.
Yeah.
So I don't know that there's a lot. I get your point that we don't want to jump in and try to look for a reason, but it seems pretty clear to me. And if it wasn't clear, based on that, the fact that Trump's campaign, because, by the way, he's still campaigning, having won the election less than a year ago, now put out a fundraising blast citing the fact that Pence left the game after he saw the players kneel.
Right.
So what other shoe should we be waiting for to drop here?
I'm not saying that there's another shoe to drop.
Okay.
I'm just saying, did you ever get in an argument with somebody and you were trying to convince, not even, I have a friend, Roberto, you've never met before, but he is just the worst.
Okay.
Why is Roberto the worst? Oh, man. This one time we went out to lunch. He said, I'm taking you to lunch. And then we go out to lunch and then he's like, I forgot my wallet. I'm just like, what a dick move. Because I wasn't planning on paying for this. And if I knew that ahead of time, I would have brought another credit card. But now I got, it's just a real dick move. And then you're just like, oh, yeah. That happens.
Right. Yeah.
But I still want you to hate Roberto.
Okay.
So I'm like, he also kicked a puppy. That part isn't true. But that's just me furthering
get to my level of hate.
He kicked a puppy. That's how bad of a person he is.
Right.
You're like, well, he is really a terrible. But that second part didn't happen.
Okay.
The picture did end up on Twitter, but I don't care about that part. That's designed to be fake outrage. That's designed to redirect you away from.
He did post the picture though.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. What the fuck does that matter compared to him going to the game on taxpayer money and leaving early?
It matters because he's trying to build
to campaign to rate. Yes. That's the problem that is here. It's not the Twitter incident. It's the other thing. Let's focus on the thing that's important.
But okay, so over the last few weeks, we've learned that Russian, probably not the government directly, but agents working for the Russian government, went and bought ads on Facebook and bought ads on Instagram, bought ads on Twitter in an effort to influence the election.
Right.
And most likely that is in fact how they accomplished that goal.
Right. And because of that, in part, Mike Pence is vice president.
Right. So
much like Christopher Columbus invades America. Or explores America. Yeah. And then, yada, yada, yada. We're here right now.
But my point is, you have to understand that all of these are important in a way. Because when he posts a tweet, whether or not it was him actually of the day of, when he claimed, it's all part of this greater battle scheme that we have to take into account. It's not just the waste of taxpayer money. You know what? This administration wastes a lot of taxpayer money.
Yeah.
They love to take private jets on personal trips. That's not something new or different. So we know that about them. That doesn't outrage people. He went into an event and he politicized it for the campaign. That doesn't upset people because they've done that before.
Right.
So we need to point out all of the facts so that we can make them all come together in one big thing so that maybe people get angry about it. And still, they're not really. But it's the same old people.
But how much better are you than them if you're lying to get them to...
Who's lying? Again, he actually did tweet out the picture.
Okay.
Right?
Are we 100% about this?
I'm 90% sure.
90% sure? Okay. You keep talking about why the picture upsets you. And
it's deleted now. You're not going to find it on the...
so there's not evidence of it.
Well, yes, but you have to do a little bit of pre-research before the episode, which some of us did.
Yeah.
But if you could find pictures of the tweet that was reposted.
So just real quick, if I went to Twitter and screenshotted the page, and then just wrote in and then put in a picture. No. I'm just asking.
So you're now saying that there is some greater conspiracy.
No, this part doesn't even fucking matter. That's the point.
And you say it doesn't matter, but it turned an election. This part turned an election. This part turned an election. Twitter and Facebook turned an election less than a year ago.
Mike Pence posting a picture on Twitter from 4 years ago doesn't mean shit now.
It doesn't, except for it's setting the tone.
What the fuck does it matter?
It's setting a tone. It's setting a tone for a greater thing.
But again, where was your source for this too? That's the other thing.
I have no idea. I actually did research, so I was looking around at a lot of different places today. But doing it live on the podcast is probably the best place that you could do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm pulling up Sports Illustrated right now.
Why the hell would you pull up Sports Illustrated?
Because that's a news source that was right up at the top that I know and trust.
Yeah. Rob checks places, that are actual news. You went to Sports Illustrated. All right, wait. Here we go. Wait. What's that now?
It's still live. It's still up right this second. He didn't delete it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess he didn't delete it. How about that? It's live right now. What does it say? Looking forward to celebrating Peyton.
And then here's the same one.
Yes.
With the same girl in the same shirt.
Yes.
All you guys got to do, by the way, if you want to see what I'm talking about, is Vice President Mike Pence tweets same photo from 2014 Colts game.
Yes.
This is...
But again, I get your point that it's part. You are thinking of it as a distraction, and I'm saying this is what turned an election.
It's like getting upset that what's his fucking face? Charlie Manson has unpaid parking tickets, and he's serving all this time in jail for those murders, but not for those unpaid parking. It's like, what the fuck does the little thing have to do with it? Let's deal with the big thing.
Let's deal with the big thing. What's the big thing? What big thing have we not pointed out?
We pointed out the
Right.
tremendous waste of taxpayer money,
Yes.
the tremendous waste of time,
Yes.
the fact that this administration can't do anything right, and they're sending the vice president, who seems to be the only one who has any kind of like actual history or experience in government, and making him go to Indianapolis for 15 minutes of a game and then off to California for a meaningless...
For raising money
for a thing.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Trump is having fucking little bitch fights with Bob Corker on Twitter, because Bob Corker said it was the White House was a adult daycare facility.
Which it kind of is.
And Trump had to go on like a 15 tweet like, Bob Corker begged and pleaded me and everything like that. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, he's saying that like wait and see on the possibility of nuclear annihilation.
You read into that. Now who's reading into things that don't actually exist?
What matters more? At the end of the day, are you going to, on your deathbed, go like, yeah, we got Mike Pence for that Twitter shit. Or are you going to be like, oh, Jesus Christ, that's a nuclear bomb falling on us right now? Like, which one of these?
You, like the majority of Americans, have an inability to understand and take it all in. I'm asking you to take it all in. Why can't all of these things be part of the discussion? He lied and posted an old picture.
Yeah.
He left when he knew he was planning on leaving anyway. He only went to leave.
Right.
He's now wasting taxpayer money in California, raising money for other campaigns, which is probably arguably a violation of election law. But all of these things are important.
If the campaign doesn't pay it back.
All of these things are important. All of these things are part of the discussion that you want to have.
Listen, if we're talking about charges to be laid against people one day, then sure, pile up all the charges you want. But at a certain point, and tell me, because I seem to remember when we were talking about Freddie Gray, and I said, boy, that's a lot of charges.
Yeah.
And you said, well, it's a way that you can go about it by just flooding them with charges and then hoping that they settle to a couple of them.
Okay.
Like, we'll drop these ones if you take depraved heart murder.
Right.
Or we'll fight on a multifaceted account to try and get as many of them as we can.
Okay.
But understand that we can back out of certain ones as we go along if it's not working. Like, if you're talking about Robert Mueller going and talking about all the charges against them, like, then fine. Make a list of everything, every time they've wronged you, and go for it. Or you could just focus on the 15 biggest charges.
Okay.
And just fight those rather than the 100 minor indignities that happened along the way.
See, and this is where the discussion, the mentality differs. Because I understand how Trump voters think. You are a Trump voter, and you can't seem to comprehend how it is that they think.
You know what it is? It's the Kardashians.
What's the Kardashians?
You're just basically watching Mike Pence Kardashian. They do these things to make you talk about it.
Right.
They put out a picture of Mike Pence from a game 4 years ago and then act like it's this Sunday again.
Okay.
So that everybody's talking about Mike Pence and what he did, and then we can have a conversation about whether the players should be kneeling or not, or whether or not it's American or against the troops or anything like that. You're just feeding into... Kylie Jenner doesn't give a shit whether or not she did something good or bad, as long as people are talking about it. Whether she's in a Pepsi ad that's racially insensitive or whether she designed a pair of shoes that cost $50,000, none of it matters. If they're not talking about it, then it's bad. And that's the MO here. Trump says stupid things on Twitter so that we spend 8 hours a day on CNN talking about
the tweets.
Yeah.
Yes,
and we're not talking about, going back to Columbus Day. Who cares so much about fucking Columbus? Where were you at Standing Rock? Not you. I'm saying, generally, where are people on Standing Rock?
When actual Native Americans
you care about Native Americans that are still alive and still have potential lives to lead here? Where the fuck were you there? It just I'm so tired of us talking about everything that isn't the important part of the story.
You don't understand how Trumpers think. You should. You are a Trump voter.
I'm not.
You are exactly what he wants in a voter, and you have the inability to see how it is that they think. Because when you say, hey, maybe he shouldn't have taken Air Force 2, and it was an incredible waste of money to go to Indianapolis to go to the game.
Yeah.
What is a Trumper going to say to that?
How's the president supposed to get there?
Vice president? Yes. Yeah. How's the vice president supposed to get there? Mm-hmm. And what are we going to go without police so they can have an assassination and so he can be killed and that'll be a victory for whoever, right? And
it's like asking, do you it's like those are the only two options. Either the president goes and vice president goes and wastes a lot of money, or the vice president dies. Those are the only two options. There's not the third option of don't fucking go.
Right, but so are they supposed to stay?
There's no reason.
My argument isn't that there are three options. My argument is, what is a Trumper going to say to you when you are arguing that he shouldn't have wasted taxpayer money to go to Indianapolis? He shouldn't have gone to the game knowing he was going to leave.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have. You shouldn't be in California right now raising money for other candidates. Mm-hmm. What are they going to say?
The players shouldn't be kneeling.
That's probably one thing. Yes.
Yeah.
What are they going to say when you say, why did he post a picture that was 4 years old? Why did he try to bend this into a different direction that he's some huge fan?
But we spent how many minutes have we spent here arguing over whether or not this damn picture is important? It's like it's the least important part of the entire conversation, and we're spending the most time talking about it
because it is the part.
Why not talk about how much they took away birth control?
Yes,
as like you could have take it taken away from you in your work paid insurance if there's religious obligations.
Sure,
this is Pence written all over it.
Yeah,
but we spent 10 minutes talking about Pence and this damn picture on Twitter, which won't get him thrown in jail, which won't get any of us killed, which just wasted a lot of money, and we're completely not talking about the important issue, which is like women are women are losing their health care in this finely regarded manner.
Listen, Bernie, I don't care about the damn emails either. That's the point.
Yeah.
But my point is, when you are looking for things to argue with the opposition to, this is the one thing that there is no political position on. He posted it intentionally, making it try to be something that it wasn't. He went there. He was intending on leaving. He wanted to make it seem like he was some kind of big super fan dressed in his Indianapolis stuff, but he wasn't.
Yeah.
He was there in a suit, and he left.
Yeah.
He went there with the intention of leaving.
Yeah.
That's the thing that they can't argue about. They can't argue about everything else. And I'm trying to avoid the
but
argument.
I mean, like, what is the purpose of talking to? I mean, like, he's not going to be impeached for it. He's not going to be censured for it.
He's not going to be impeached for anything. When are people going to realize that?
So focus on the things that he's going to get impeached for.
What is he going to get impeached for?
Make it correlation with a Russia. Like, if everybody who fucking spent time writing articles on fucking what's that one that everyone's doing? Like the news-based one. I can't remember. You were doing it for a little while.
I don't remember.
Yeah. Anywho. I'm saying if everyone's spending if everyone's spending their time making Medium articles about how Mike Pence's Twitter using a picture from like, fuck you guys, like, seriously, spend your time learning how to like speak a new language or read a book about history, like what I should do. Like, don't focus on these meaningless things. Like, for instance, the Las Vegas shooting was this Monday.
Yes,
and I'm going to try to say that's Sunday. And the amount of fake, ridiculous news articles that I saw on Facebook and Twitter and everywhere. Rachel watched one that her one of her friends posted, or like family or something like that. And it was a video about how we know that this is a false flag operation. Okay. I'm just like, okay, I'll watch. I'll see what's up. I'll see what this guy has to say. Because maybe he has some sort of secret video or picture I've never seen. Sure. This is legitimately being kept off the news because it's too real or something like that. Yeah. But this guy starts with his leading argument for why this is a false flag operation is because of how Alex Jones is reacting to it. Okay. He's like, as we all know, Alex Jones works for the government, and he's in charge of making you feel like you're safe when you're not. And if he's saying this isn't a false flag, then it clearly is a false flag. It's 100% truth. Put it in the bank. Believe it. Like, okay. If you start a 17-minute long video with 5 minutes of why Alex Jones is wrong and we have to believe everything that is the opposite of what Alex Jones said just because we know he's wrong, because not he's an idiot or because he doesn't know what he's talking about, but because he's a plant from the government. Like, this is not... The problem is that the more this shit is out there in the universe, the more people are concerned about like how quickly we can get to what the actual conspiracy theory is as the reason why this happened.
I can walk you through how it's.
But we don't know fucking shit at this point.
I think we know a lot at this point.
We don't know nearly, and we don't know exactly what his plan was or what he was.
We know what the plan was. He successfully carried out his plan. He wanted to fire at some gas tankers across the way, and he wanted to shoot people in a crowd. He did both of those things.
Right, but I'm saying we don't know why he did that.
But there sometimes
did he do it because he wanted to die, or did
no? But I'm saying like all of you, people like you, people like Rachel, people like all of your Facebook friends are always looking for the why. Sometimes there is no why. Sometimes there is just, I want to kill people.
This is the point I'm making.
Yeah.
Everyone's so quick to try and figure this all out. Like, we have to wrap up this Vegas shooting by Saturday because we're going to have a new outrage next week. Okay. Like, 59 people fucking died. Like, if we invested all the time that we spend making fake news articles about Alex Jones being a government spy and some 3 people's uncorroborated statement that said that some woman was walking through the crowd saying you're going to die tonight. Yeah. Like, none of these things add to the conversation.
But why?
But every single time somebody calls the Los Angeles Metro Police Department and says, like, I read this thing online that said that this woman said that she was going to kill. Like, they got to spend time going into this.
Do you think people are actually doing that? Yes. No one is involved. No one cares. They want to talk to their Facebook friends on it. They want to be the first person who has a piece of information. They're not sharing it with the police. Nobody calls the police and gives them any information, especially nothing they read on Facebook.
Believe me, I read this article before where it said that local police departments, when there's a big momentous thing like this, if they make a call for information, they get flooded with things.
Right, but they haven't made a call for information specifically for that. No, they took witness statements from people who were actually there. But there has been no, hey, here's our hotline, call in if you have any information about the shooter. Yeah, because they know who the shooter is.
But it doesn't take the hotline. Please call 1-900-VEGAS shooter and let me know. Like
why? Why is it such a big deal?
If anyone knows anything about it,
such a big deal?
Because every single time you call up the Vegas Police Department to tell them that there's
that. Why is the shooting a big deal? 59 people are dead. 200 plus people are injured.
500 plus people.
500 plus people are injured. Yeah. Okay. Welcome to 1 month in the city of Baltimore. That's what we've been doing for the last 6 years. That's
not 1 month.
Month and a half. 2 months in the city of Baltimore. Yeah. In August, they pushed 34 murders in 30 days. And there were another 150 people who were injured. Yeah. So that's 1 month in the city of Baltimore.
Yeah, that's gun violence all over the country, though. I mean, like
that's probably about a month in the city of Chicago. And how many bodies are buried in abandoned buildings, places that we didn't even know about? That's 34 murders in a month when the body was left in the street, not killed purposefully and hidden.
Right.
So why is this such a big deal? Why is it a big deal? Because people don't feel safe. It's easy to ignore brown people being murdered in a city that was far away. It's not easy to ignore a bunch of white people being killed in one of the most popular tourist destinations in the country. So I mean, you're talking about all of these conspiracy theories and all that stuff, but the conspiracy theory is they're making you care about it because of who the victims are. Because they can put a bunch of white faces on the TV screen, and isn't that great? But they can't show the 34 people murdered in Baltimore because it's going to be a bunch of brown faces, black, brown, and Hispanic faces.
See, but here's the point. If somebody dies, somebody's murdered right now in Baltimore.
Most likely, yes.
Right, but I'm saying, like,
as we speak, there's someone being murdered.
It's midnight and somebody was just murdered in Baltimore.
Yeah.
So the police are rolling up onto the scene right about now. 10 minutes after the fact.
Sure.
They're rolling up to the scene. They're putting out their tape. Homicide investigators looking at the guy, trying to ascertain who he is.
Yeah.
Say he doesn't have a license or any kind of identifying material on him.
Okay.
He's maybe homeless or something like that. Okay, now we have to spend time figuring out who this guy is.
Yeah.
So we have to spend time doing like blood work or DNA or dental records or whatever it is. It takes a while for labs to get back to you. Everybody is so worried about, like, in a shooting like this, figuring out the shooting, Vegas shooting.
Yes, yeah.
And figuring out, like, who the guy was, why he was shooting these people. You know, like, was he a terrorist in the sense that he was connected with ISIS? Like, are we not calling him terrorist because he's white?
Yeah.
What is the point? Like, how am I gonna? I don't want to put myself out there and be wrong.
Okay.
I want to be right by Thursday with all the correct information of why he did this.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in Baltimore, it's going to take 2 to 3 weeks to just get basic information on who the guy was who was murdered.
Okay.
Unless there's information that comes forward.
Why is the guy? Why is the guy in Baltimore murdered?
There's any number of reasons why.
What does it come down to? What is it? I mean, yes, it could be drugs. It could be he stole something from somebody. But what does it come down to?
He got slept with his boy's girl or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
what is it? What are all of those? What are all of those things really come
beefs?
down to? It comes down to human beings not liking the anger and hatred from one human being to another.
Right.
That's exactly what the Vegas shooter is doing, the same thing.
Yeah.
And newsflash, guys, you're not safe anywhere. You're not safe in rural Maryland, if that's where you live. You're not safe in a tourist destination like Las Vegas. You're not safe in Baltimore City. You're not safe in Los Angeles. You're not safe anywhere. Because everywhere you go, there are people who have hate and have anger and are this close to taking it out on you or somebody else.
Yeah.
And the likelihood, if you know 10 people, one of those people will be a victim of violent crime in your lifetime. If you're lucky enough, you beat the statistics and all 10 of those people you know actually survive and you're not victims. That means that somebody else has 2 people that they know.
Yeah.
And statistically speaking, if you live in Baltimore City, you're more likely to have 7 or 8 of your friends be victims of violent crime.
Yeah.
So you're looking for the why. I understand. Everybody wants the answers because they want the why. The why is that people, since Cain and Abel, to use a biblical example that I'm already regretting using, hate each other and they try to kill each other. That's what happens. And getting to my point of this is, like, the first thing, of course, is let's take away everybody's guns because that's really the cause. It's not about a sick person. It's not about this issue between people. It's not about someone, just humanity being a virus that should be eradicated from the earth. It's about the guns.
Let me go to the guns here for a minute.
All right. And here's the thing I've learned listening through the hashtag OTA flashbacks for the last few weeks. Mm-hmm. Corey always intros his argument about how he wants to take guns away with how he's not trying to take guns away. So go ahead. What's your argument?
First of all, I don't want to take guns away. I don't give a shit.
Here we go.
I don't give a shit. But Roberto and I had a conversation about this, like, the day after Vegas.
Yeah.
Or Lucy, I don't remember who. So we had a conversation where I said, why does somebody have to have 10 rifles?
Okay.
Like 10 of the same exact rifle. Like, I get if you're a shooter, like a hunter, and you might have 10 different guns because there's 10 different occasions to use your gun.
Sure.
Like, if you're hunting what is it? Elephants in Africa.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you have that big, huge bassoon gun, you know?
Elephant gun.
The elephant gun.
Yeah.
Your pistol is worthless against the elephant.
Yeah.
You have to come there with some serious, you know, you're hunting deer. There's 15 different ways you can kill them.
Yeah.
You can use a bow and arrow, you can use a long gun, you can use a rifle.
Sure.
Whatever. if I went into, use this as your mentality. If I went into a store and bought a car, you wouldn't think anything of it.
Right.
If I went in and said, I'd like to buy 2 of those Mercedes, one's for me, one's for my girlfriend, then you would be like, oh, well, money bags. Sure, come on in. Sure. Sign away your contract. If I came in and I said, I'd like to buy 10 Mercedes-Benz, you'd probably be like, what's going on here? Like, there's something afoot.
Is there any limitation on buying 10 Mercedes?
No, but it's awfully awkward.
So why? Why is it awkward?
Because why would you buy 10 of the same?
Well, why would you buy 2? Why would you buy 1? Why would you spend $70,000 on a Mercedes and you spend $25,000 on a Hyundai?
I was just saying, it's just
maybe because you like Mercedes, and you want to have 10
and
Mercedes.
I'm saying if you have a brand new Mercedes, and then you also have like a classic 1970s Mercedes, and you have one from the 90s that's really rare and collectible, then I understand.
Listen, the capitalist system that you're talking about, I despise. I think that it makes me sick on a daily basis, and I hate it.
I'd understand if you bought every year you bought the new Madden.
Okay.
I'd get it. I'd be like, oh, you want the updated rosters every single year. It's important to you. If you went in and just bought 10 copies of this year's game, I would be confused.
Well, but see, if we're talking about the
Vegas, but the problem is that we don't know whether. No, but I'm saying, like, I don't know when. I feel like the list is troublesome, like a national database, because gun owners don't want to have their name on a list.
Yes.
I understand that. But if this guy literally went to just 10 different gun shops and bought all these guns over the course of the last year, and nobody knows because he bought one at a time.
Right.
If somebody knew, I'm not saying that it necessarily has to be like tied to him directly kind of thing, but if somebody knew that the same person bought 10 of the same exact gun in a year, then wouldn't that alert you somehow to something?
What would it alert you to?
That somebody,
a guy likes to own guns. What if a guy went to 10 different Mercedes dealerships and bought 10 different Mercedes? Does that somehow break a law that I'm unaware of?
No.
Does buying 10 different guns at 10 different gun stores break some kind of law I'm unaware of?
No, but I'm saying I would want to know more if I was somebody in the investigation.
Sure, I would want to know more about a guy who buys a new Madden every single year because it's a dumb game and I don't understand why people want to do that. Yeah, so let's create a list of everyone who buys Madden.
But I'm saying if there was some guy up at the top of a clock tower at the University of Texas with 100 copies of the new Madden game, and like Gambit, just throwing them and decapitating people from high above, then yes, I can understand why you would be upset about this guy and his obsession with Madden.
Then nobody is dying from this shit. You want to investigate every single farmer in the country then, right?
No.
Well, because if I have enough ammonium nitrate, which is a fertilizer, and diesel fuel, which is basically the components of the bomb that blew up the Murray building in Oklahoma City, then you can make a bomb.
Yeah.
So every farmer has all of these things around his farm. Should we be investigating every single farmer?
No.
Right, because until you do something with the thing, there's no law has been broken.
We're past the point of, every single farmer does have the things necessary to make a bomb, so why don't we...
We're past the point that happened
once.
Matters.
That happened once.
No, it does. It's happened many times. It's happened many times. The basic tool of the terrorist bombing is fertilizer and diesel fuel.
Okay.
With a blasting cap, which you can get at any construction store. So my point of it is this. At what point did a constitutional right become lesser? And when are we going to start compromising on the other ones? Because, why do you need 2 computers? Why do you need a computer, a desktop, a laptop, and a phone? You only need one way to communicate with people. So why don't we limit you to the one way? And one Twitter account, for that matter, because really, I think we should make you put your name on your Twitter account and all your social media. Only one, though. Choose one. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, only one. Pick it. Put your full name on it. Yeah. Full name on it. And then that's the only way that you can communicate.
And it has to be figured out by the verified by Social Security number or something like that.
Absolutely. Why not?
Like just like if you were doing your taxes online, 100%. You have to make sure that you're who you say you are.
Why not?
Okay. Well, I mean, listen, I don't want any of that to happen.
Right.
I guess if we find out that Twitter trolls become such a large problem.
Oh, you mean like Chancellorsville? Or Charlottesville?
Charlottesville?
Yeah. Where like, Twitter trolls come to life and march around with tiki torches?
If we find out that there were 500,000 fake accounts made by the Russians to try and influence our lives, then I imagine there will be some sort of step taken by the people at Twitter.
To
try and
limit people at Twitter.
Right.
What will the government do to step in there?
Maybe nothing.
Why can they not only would they not do nothing, why can they cannot do anything?
Because they can't tell a private business how to operate unless it's against the law.
Exactly. And more importantly, what does Twitter fall into?
I mean, are we counting them as communications?
Oh, they're communications. But no, they're not. They're not a common carrier. But there are laws that limit them to do things, certainly. But by limiting the scope of Twitter's business, you are in fact limiting speech, which is violative of the First Amendment.
Right.
So, if in their infinite wisdom, the gun companies want to limit they want to stop selling bump stocks, or they want to stop selling 40-round magazines, then they have the ability to do so. But by the government stepping in and doing that, you are violating a constitutional right the same way that they would by limiting Twitter.
But here's my back at you on that one.
Okay.
Right after Vegas happened, the NRA came out and said, "We're fully in defense of making legislation that curtails the purchase of bump stocks."
Right,
because it makes this legal weapon with this legal part into something that would normally, under everyday circumstances, be considered an illegal gun.
Well, no, that's not why they did it.
No, I mean, it's going to be taken away.
Right, but that's not why they did it, because they know they were going to make it illegal anyway.
Right. And what's the point of fighting?
Yeah. Right. It's a concession you can give that doesn't impact 95% of gun owners, except for now everybody's buying these bump stocks.
Yeah, because they don't. As soon as they're illegal, you can't get them anymore.
Right.
But right now, you can buy them and stockpile them in case.
But again,
a rainy day comes and you need to take out, several dozen innocent people for no good reason.
What is the point of the Second Amendment?
To keep the government out of your business?
Not to keep the government out of your business. It's the final
that
check.
You can rise against the government if you see fit.
What is the point of the First Amendment?
To protect you from having your speech taken away.
No. Yes, but that's not really the point. Why do we have a First Amendment? Why was it so important?
Oh, because we were being told what to do and what to
say, what to print.
Yeah.
Wait, what could the news be? And we wanted to make a country where even if the government didn't like it, you could say what you wanted.
Yeah, we were the son of an alcoholic father.
Yes.
Who said that they weren't going to ever drink.
Right.
Because they saw what happened when alcohol became a part of life, and I don't want to be that way.
Right. Okay, so what were the lessons that we learned? One, free press is important.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech is important. Mm-hmm. The right to get together and discuss issues is important. And the right to bring those issues to the government is important. We put all those in one big amendment. There's number one.
Yeah.
What comes next after that?
Our ability to forcefully impact those rights.
Should all of the rights in the First Amendment be impeded upon by the government, we need a way to strike back against them.
Right.
That's the second.
Yeah.
What is the Third Amendment? Here's a test for history. What is the Third Amendment?
Jesus Christ. It's too late for this.
Not too late for me. I have it.
Go ahead.
Troops cannot be quartered in private homes.
Oh, that's right.
Why is that important? Because even if you have guns, once they take away your freedom of speech, even if you have to hide the guns, it doesn't matter if they're quartering troops in every single town.
Yeah.
So stop them from doing that. So now we have to worry about hidden
Which is
guns.
really something we don't have to worry about anymore. That was more of a...
You'd think, but who knows?
Oh, I know.
Listen,
I'm saying if they take it away, it's going to be the first thing that happens. But I'm saying...
I remember during Ferguson when we were like, they violated every constitutional amendment except the third. So everybody started putting #protect the third.
Yeah.
Just like as a joke of like, but the last one they haven't violated yet. Let's hope to protect the third. But no, so what about the Fourth Amendment? Protecting you from searches and seizures.
Yeah.
Okay, so that way you can hide the guns that protect you from the government. What about the Fifth Amendment? So you don't have to be... You
don't have to testify against yourself.
Or others if you have endangered yourself. So that keeps you from a conspiracy. The Founding Fathers, in their infinite wisdom, said, what are all the things that we did to overthrow Britain?
Yeah.
Great. Now let's put those protections in so that the people can do this again if it's ever necessary. And you know what? We've never been fucking closer to it being necessary than right now, when we have cabinet secretaries using government jets as private planes to go to their own private events. We have a vice president who's using a political protest about the murder of unarmed black men to raise funds for the 2020 campaign season.
Right.
When we have a president who's talking about going to nuclear war, maybe, it's a, we'll see. Maybe it's the calm before the storm. All of these things are adding up. This is a time when we need the constitutional protections more than any other time.
And listen, I'm not trying to be, I literally do not care whether or not we have guns.
That's the problem.
I don't,
because you don't care, and then one day you're going to need them, and because you don't care whether they're here or not, if they go away, it doesn't bother you.
I'm not going to use them. I
just believe that we should protect all of the
amendments. I'm not going to use them.
There is no situation in which you can see yourself using a weapon.
No, I'm saying there is a situation, like, if somebody tried to rob me and I was able to take their weapon from them, and they were coming at me with another weapon, and now I had to decide whether or not to shoot them with the weapon I had, or be killed, then yes, I'll use the weapon. If I decide to rob a bank or be involved in a heist, will I use a gun? Probably. Seems like it's necessary, but I don't. I don't foresee these things being like. Would I own a gun to have underneath my bed in case a robber came in? No.
Right. How about it's
would I violently march on Washington with my gun raised high?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Of course
I'd figure out a way to help the rebel forces from afar.
Of course.
Maybe I can do some Google searches and help out.
That is the motto of the coward. I want you guys to remember that. That's the motto of the coward right there. I'll do everything I can so I want all of the benefits. So I want to choose the side that's winning.
Right.
Looks like the rebels are doing well. I'm going to back them. I'm not actually going to fight. I'm just going to help you as much as I can from here.
No, but I'm saying, like, there's times where it's a good idea and a bad idea to involve certain people in things. It would be a bad idea to involve me with any kind of operating or shooting of a gun, because I'm only going to shoot myself. I'm only going to kill myself by accident. That's the only
6 weeks with Roberto. He could train you how to use it responsibly. You would be confident with it, and you would feel completely different. How many times have you fired a weapon?
There's before? A 97% chance. I don't know, a dozen times.
Right.
There's a 97% chance that if I owned a weapon, I would shoot myself with it.
Well, yeah,
this is the end of days, and
right. That's because you're not trained with it. You're not comfortable with it, and that you probably hold it like a girly man,
like a spider.
Yes,
like a spider in a napkin.
A spider in a napkin. Yes, but no, nonetheless.
But I'm saying, like, me with a gun is as bad of an idea as having Harvey Weinstein be the keynote speaker.
Because I'm not going to let you
at
do
your
that.
Women's March.
Listen, my point is this: to everybody out there who is saying, "Hey, we need responsible gun reform," I'm with you. There are things that I'm willing to give that the NRA is not willing to give. I've had this argument on social media all week long. Should there be psychological testing? Maybe. I'm kind of okay with that. Should there be licensing? Absolutely. Don't make it a national registry. Just license me individually with this weapon. Should there be training? I'm fine with training. That's fine. But
I mean, like, you have to train to get a car. Right. Shouldn't you have to at least be able to prove you know
Show
how to operate the weapon before you can purchase it?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But in the end...
Plus, there might even be a cool way of adding in a gun range to all gun shops. Yes. Where you have to go in the back. Like, it's like, all right, well, if you want this AR-15, you got to go in the back and put 5 in the target.
All right, I can do it.
It's just like, if you can't shoot 5 out of 20 in the target, then you're not allowed to own this.
I'm fine with that.
And then you go back, you purchase 20 bullets.
Right.
And you go in the back and you shoot it off, and then if it works, then or if you nail the target, then you can keep the gun.
Okay, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
And you know why I'm fine with that?
And I would like to not think. Here's what I think I would like. Why don't we do what the Major League Baseball did after the Bond-Sosa season?
Okay,
which is, we're under the impression that a lot of people are doping. So we're going to test everybody anonymously.
Okay.
We're not going to put names on it. We're not going to do anything like that.
Just want to see how
We're just going to see what happens.
Yeah.
And people knew that testing was going on. And if they failed, they failed. But if a certain number of people failed, then they had to automatic testing would kick in.
Okay.
That had punishments that weren't really that big of a deal. It was 15 games for the first offense, not 50. But it was something. It was an agreement to do something. What if we had anonymous records of gun purchases?
Okay.
This is not associated with your name or anything like that. We don't have a list of what you bought, but we know that one person in Nevada purchased 10 guns in the last year. And we know based off of the records that these 10 guns are all the same, and we bought bump stocks for 8 of them or whatever.
Okay.
At least we would have an idea when we got the metrics back in and we did the math that some people who are buying guns responsibly and like to collect them or like to hunt or whatever seem to be doing it at a certain understandable clip.
What's the point of the anonymous list?
Because then we'll have information for which we can use to...
For what?
So we can figure out what the common sense gun reforms are.
We already know what the common sense reforms are. I just named the 3 common sense reforms.
I think those 3 are great. I'm fine with all of them right now.
But again,
I'm saying there's something when you look at traffic out on the 110, right?
You make my head hurt.
Hold on.
No, go ahead.
When you look at traffic on the 110 and you see one car that stopped in the middle lane.
Yeah.
And that one car stopped in the middle lane is making all these cars try and maneuver around it. And then that causes one car a mile back to go all the way over to the left because they're trying to avoid whatever the slow up is.
Right.
And they're going to get over to the 110 when they get past it. But now they're stuck because the accident's right there and they can't get back.
Yeah.
It's a real nightmare.
Okay.
If we had information like... traffic statistics where we could look down and see how traffic is moving and how things operate, then we would have a better sense of what kind of things we should be worried about, what kind of things that we can do to correct it, what things we can do to make it easier to purchase a gun when it's responsible and make it more difficult when we have questions.
Again, but the anonymousness of the data does nothing because what people are really concerned about is who is using them.
But I'm saying
for violence, and that is answered by your anonymous database.
What if I said that if more than 10% of the American population purchased more than 30 guns in a year, then it would automatically trigger some certain
No, because again, we live in a capitalist system. If I have the money and I want to buy something, why should I ever be stopped from purchasing it? I don't stop rich people from buying whatever gaudy shit they want. I don't stop Rachel from buying whatever smelly shit she wants for this apartment.
Yeah.
Despite how pointless it is. You see guns as pointless. I see smelly shit as pointless.
I don't see it as pointless.
Don't stop anybody.
I don't see it as pointless. I'm just saying it doesn't... I don't understand why somebody would purchase so many of them. It just doesn't make sense. You're allowed to do it, but I'm saying I would like to know more about this situation.
Why do you buy so many gadgets?
What do you mean?
Why do you buy so many gadgets?
The gadgets do different things.
The gadgets do different things. The guns do different things.
If I bought 100 XLR cables, like these guys, the ones that connect to microphones, then you would say, Corey, that seems like an awful lot of XLR cables.
Yes, I would.
You don't have 100 microphones, nor do you have a way of hooking up 100 microphones simultaneously. Right. What is the purpose of having 100 XLR cables?
Right.
And then if I gave you an unsettling answer, like, oh, you'll find out soon enough.
Okay.
Then I would hope that anybody who heard that sort of thing
you're making them the correlation between the XLR cables and guns.
Sure. Okay. I mean, like, isn't it weird?
What if you had 100 mics?
Yeah.
100 different mics.
Right.
They're all different.
Yeah.
Would that be weird?
No.
You're a person who is really involved in sound. You like sound.
Yeah, and
each of those mics does something a little different.
Mics do different things. Different mics do different things. Correct.
That's the argument for guns.
Okay, but when I when I was watching the coverage, which is basically just any piece of information they find, whether or not it's important at the moment.
It's all breaking news.
Yeah, it's all breaking news.
Yeah.
One of the pieces that I found interesting, and keep saying over and over again, was the fact that he bought 10 of the same exact gun over the course of a year. And all he did was just go to a different store in which to purchase it. So nobody would be wise to him. Why do you think people would be wise to that situation? Because it's weird if you bought 10 of them at the same exact time.
But he bought 10 of the same guns.
Yeah.
Were those guns the same at the time when the guns were found?
No.
Right. Why?
Because he put a bump stock on them.
No. Did they all have bump stocks?
Well, I don't know if they all had bump stocks.
Right. Maybe one of them had a 10-to-1 optical scope. Maybe one of them had a red dot scope.
Yeah.
There's modifications that are made just because the chassis is the same.
How long does it take to put on a red scope?
A red dot scope?
Red dot scope.
I don't know, 15 minutes maybe. Less than that.
So I mean, like, if you were hypothetically going hunting and you wanted to use it on your rifle, like, you could spend 15 minutes just changing it out.
I could.
Much like if you went fishing and you wanted to use a different lure, you could spend the 10 minutes to undo the lure that you had on your thing and put the new one on and thread it and like tie up the knot and everything.
Well, I would spend 15 minutes putting it on and then an hour and a half dialing it in to get it accurate again.
Yeah.
So no, it's not the same thing at all.
But I'm saying you can.
Is it possible? Sure.
Yeah.
But why wouldn't I just buy 2 AR-15s and put my optical scope on one, dial it in once, put my red dot scope on the other, dial it in once, and now I have one with 2 different scopes.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just buy one microphone? Why would you need 2 of the exact same microphones?
If I bought 2 of the exact same microphone and I didn't have listen,
there are 4 of these microphones in this apartment.
There are 4 different microphones like that.
Oh, wait. So they're slightly different, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe you could have bought the chassis and designed the interior of it yourself.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great? If you could just buy the shell and make it individualized?
If I bought one Audio-Technica A2020, which is what this is.
Yes.
If I bought one, you wouldn't think it's weird. If I bought 2, you wouldn't think it's weird. Because we have a podcast with 2 people.
Sure.
If I bought 3, it wouldn't necessarily be weird. Because sometimes we have guests.
Yes.
If I bought 4, again, it seems a little bit much, but maybe I'm planning a party.
Sure.
And I want to have multiple people on the podcast.
Right.
If I bought 100 of them,
you
would start to wonder what I needed with all those microphones.
Sure.
All of the exact same microphone.
Sure.
There are times where...
How many changes can you make to this mic to make it different?
I mean, not that many. Most of what I'm doing to make it different is...
Right. That's my point, though. That's why you don't see how this is...
I mean, like, if I put it across the room for me, it's different. But I mean, like, that wouldn't be much purpose.
You don't understand how it's different. Because what I'm saying is, you're getting this mic as a finished product.
Right.
When I buy an AR-15, I am getting a project. Because
but I'm saying...
it most likely has 3 rails that I can individually put something on there that I want. And then once I get this perfectly dialed in, I don't want to change anything on it. It's better, in my mind, to buy another AR-15 and modify it for a different purpose.
But the reason why we have that microphone right there as the one that you're using is because I really like the vocal pattern on that one.
Okay.
It has a really good range of how much frequency it picks up. I have a Radio Shack mic that I really like too. That's another dynamic microphone, but it's not quite the same as that one. That's a better one. And it's better for our situation of people talking than it is.
It's literally
the Radio
our
Shack
conversation because you can't understand why someone would like something different. That you have an inability to see the other side of the conversation.
All I would like they talked to a guy who worked at one of the gun shops that he bought stuff from.
Yeah.
And he said he just kept repeating over and over again, like, I literally did everything right by the book.
Yes.
And I wish there was something I could have done to stop him from buying these guns because obviously I'm horrified by the outcome.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know what else there is I could have done, and I don't blame the guy who works at the gun shop.
Okay.
I feel like if we can get to it, if I went to Sam Goody to buy microphones and I bought the same microphone, 20 of the same microphone,
right?
I would expect the guy when I buy them to say, "Well, what's with all the microphones?" And then if I say like, "Oh, I have 5 studios.
Okay, but to avoid
and I like these microphones, and I want to put them in all my studios. Then I'd be like, oh, okay, well that makes sense.
To avoid that, what would you do?
None of your goddamn business.
No.
And
you just go to several different stores and buy a couple of the same ones.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's no big deal,
right? But that's the thing, because to avoid the discussion, we just go to a different place. Because in the mind of someone who appreciates firearms,
right? But
in the mind of a person who understands how individualized you can make one and not want to change it, then it's worth it to say, I don't want to deal with the headache of explaining why I need to. I don't want to talk. And the guy at the gun store doesn't care because he knows he's got a collection just like you. But when Joe Schmo is like, hey, why did that guy come out of there with 2 guns? I don't want to have to fucking explain it. And I don't want the gun store owner to have to explain it to anybody either. So to avoid that, I go to 2 different stores and buy 2 different guns. And then I go about my merry way of making them individualized.
Yeah.
But because you don't understand it, because you don't have a love for firearms, because you don't understand the intricacies of it, you have an inability to put yourself in that position.
It's like...
because again, you keep saying, what if I bought 20 microphones? But it's not. This is a self-contained item. You don't change anything about it. I can get a chassis and do a million things to it.
Yeah.
And make that individual firearm
But I mean,
different.
like, why do you need...
Why do I need it? I don't need it. I don't need it. Why do I need Facebook? Why do I need Twitter? Why do I need Instagram?
Yeah, obviously you don't need any of those things.
Right,
but I'm saying,
you don't. But
I'm
we
saying,
have
like,
a right
why
to do it.
Why do you? I get you. I understand you have a right.
Yeah, so I'm allowed to do it.
I don't want to have to infringe upon it. But if things make like perfect sense, I don't understand what it
doesn't make perfect sense.
When they make the arguments about how we could curtail prescription drug abuse. They talk about like, well, man, if there was a nationwide database of everyone's medical records, that would make a huge stride.
Yeah.
Because then drug addicts won't go from doctor to doctor to doctor.
Sure.
Getting, just as much as they possibly can get at one and then as much as they could possibly get at the other.
Yeah.
Somebody will be up to that.
Sure.
Some doctor will be like, did you know that you went to 3 different places and got the same?
How'd that work out, by the way?
It hasn't. They can't do it because it's so... Number one, the insurance companies don't fucking want it, which means that nobody fucking wants it.
Do you know what the other solution is?
What?
Just legalize it. Let you go to Walgreens and ask for Percocet. Because who the fuck cares? It's your life. What happened to the libertarian who really doesn't give a shit and wants people to be able to do whatever they want?
I don't give a shit, but
right. So why can't I go to Walgreens and get Percocet? Who are you to tell me whether or not I should or shouldn't poison my body?
If you want to go to Walgreens and you want to get Percocet, then fine. That's between you and your Lord, I guess.
Great.
Just figure it out. But I'm saying like
So what's
it upsets me to have to think about the countless lives that were ruined and ended by some idiot up in the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay deciding to take it out on everybody.
Okay, and these things are going to happen.
I understand these things are going to happen, but let's say we did mental health checks.
Okay.
For gun. That was one thing you said was okay with you.
Yeah.
You'd be willing to bend on that one.
Yep.
Let's just say we passed it tomorrow. And we had a way of telling that one step equaled 1,000 people who are still living, or 500 people who are still living.
Okay.
Or even 200 people who are still living. Mm-hmm. Isn't 200 people worth...
Yes.
We've lost people in our lives.
I don't want guns in the hands of unstable people, because when they do bad things with it, it makes me look bad when I just ask for the same protections that you get for speech or that someone else gets for their searches and seizures.
I don't want to take it away. I just want it to be... I'm tired of hearing about almost 600 people being... injured or dead because of some guy making a decision. But I feel like there should be something that gets in the way of him being able to do that.
There is,
because up until the point he started pulling the trigger,
right?
He didn't break a crime. He didn't commit a crime.
You're right. So is your
arguably when he smashed the window at the Bellagio, but I mean that's
so is your point that
all part of the same action?
We should make something before that illegal, because that's the only change that you're talking about, making the purchase of these guns illegal.
No, I'm not saying they should be illegal.
Flagging somebody down and saying, "Hey,
there should be some sort of common sense as to what is an excessive amount of guns and ammunition. If you can't explain it, then you shouldn't be able to have that much."
Well, welcome, comrade, because now you're talking about limitations on commerce. So now it's all communism for you, huh? Like, you understand that. Because what you're saying is you can buy as many cars as you want, despite how dangerous they are, and despite how people act recklessly with them. But you're not going to say the same thing about guns.
No, but I'm saying if I bought a car, then I have to get insurance for that car, and I have to get tags for that car, and I have to register it with the state of California.
Okay.
And I have to make sure that it passes its emission test when it's time.
Okay.
And I have to pay tolls and parking tickets and everything else that goes into the greater good that comes with the car.
Yeah.
If I bought 10 cars and I drive different cars every day, I have to pay for 10 different insurances.
Right.
I have to pay for 10 different registrations, everything. If I am just a crazy lunatic who buys 10 guns, it hurts you, the regular gun owner who is doing nothing wrong.
Why not? If I had the money, I'd own 10 guns. It doesn't impact me at all.
Right, but I'm saying
you know what I do? I do have to buy a license. I have to buy a license every single time. I have upkeep costs. I have insurance costs, just like for a car. I have insurance costs on the weapons themselves because the value is so high. I do all of these things. Like, there are things I'm willing to push on. One of them is not, you should only get so many of these things, because that's the only thing in our society that we're saying that about.
There has to be a straight limit to how many you can have. I'm just saying that if I own 10 cars and they're 10 different cars and they have different reasons or purposes for me, then that's totally understandable.
But again,
you're a rich guy who likes to buy 10 different types of cars.
Your inability to understand how 10 guns
are
I
get it.
Are different.
You're going to go hunting and you want to be able to use your red dot scope, and you want to be able to use your sawed-off option and your burst mode and your everything else.
It's not about hunting. It's about, I enjoy the firearms. I want to go out into the desert and fire off 30 rounds at a clip if I want to.
Right.
Because it's America and I should be allowed to.
No, I get it. You are feeling very... the masculinity is being threatened, and you need to go out there and prove that you're a masculine man. So I get why you're...
Why do we say that about guns but not about cars or not about any other luxury item that
Did I not just yesterday, when we were talking about some huge Chevy pickup truck with a lift kit, say like, oh man, that seems like an awful lot of truck to pull around such a small amount of penis.
But this isn't about the size.
Am I not going to say the same thing about some guy who's like open carrying some big machine gun?
Well, and I'm
like,
for open carry.
It's unfortunate that you have to carry around such a large gun to make up for your small penis.
Well, and I mean, I'm for open carry. I wouldn't open carry, but I think that there are rights that you have, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Alyssa in the chat room, by the way, once again, you can join us when we record every single week. We are going to try to shift over to YouTube at some point, but we're still on Facebook.com/O The Anthem. Alyssa says we can start by not allowing those on the do not fly list to buy a gun. We have to start somewhere. Alyssa, I would be with you, except for the fact that there are about 300,000 people on the do not fly list. There is no oversight on how people get on that list. Generally, you can be flagged for any number of reasons, including the fact that your name is similar to the name of someone who would be on the list. Basically, it's like disenfranchising voters. There's no oversight, and people are just getting thrown on the list willy-nilly. There was a story just last year about a 2-year-old who wasn't allowed to fly because his name was the same as the name of somebody on the do not fly list.
Yeah.
Clearly, the 2-year-old, not somebody on the do not fly list, but because the name was the same, they weren't allowed to fly. So until there's some oversight, that's not a good way to hold ourselves accountable. There are good ways. We can test. We can do a whole bunch of things that I'm willing to do. One of them is not a national list. One of them is not limiting the number of things I can buy. Unless you want to openly embrace communism, then I'm fine with that because I think the system is superior. But otherwise, let's just find smart ways to do it that don't impede on a constitutional right. It's been upheld by the Supreme Court. The Second Amendment applies to the individual, whether in their home or otherwise.
Yeah.
So just like you have the right to freedom of speech and assembly and press and the right to peaceably assemble.
Right.
All of those things are personal rights, whether they are in public or in private. They apply. So does the Second Amendment. It applies personally to you, whether in public or private.
Okay, so if I'm going into a gun shop.
Yes.
And I'm trying to buy 10 of the same exact gun.
Hang on a sec. Yes, Alyssa with another comment. But a 2-year-old isn't going to buy a gun. You're right. A 2-year-old in 2016 isn't going to buy a gun. But when that 2-year-old, who by the way is still on the no-fly list, despite they weren't allowed to fly last year, still on the do-not-fly list, in 16 years, when that 2-year-old tries to buy a firearm illegally, they would then not be allowed to buy it because their name's on the do-not-fly list. There's no oversight. There's no oversight there. We're looking for minimal oversight, but meaningful oversight.
Let me make my argument in another way, because I brought up the Major League Baseball with steroids, which isn't necessarily the best example of how to fix something.
It's a pretty horrible example.
But I'm saying that there was a lot of times that science came through once they started doing studies.
Okay.
To find out, like, oh, now that we finally actually studied the effects of smoking on lungs, we found out that now that we have 60 years of research, because we started doing this research every single year, we can tell that...
shit, I got the answer for you. Don't let white men buy guns. Because white men, more than any other group, white men between 25 and 45 are more than likely to use them in violence.
Yeah, and there's also the thing of, do you want to get rid of all the crime? Just arrest every single male from 18 to 26 now. And then that's...
What's his name?
Garagos.
Garagos' idea. Yeah, that's how we stop crime altogether.
Right. Just arrest every 18-year-old.
Yep.
As soon as they turn 18, they go to jail for 8 years.
5 years and let it get it out of the system and then go out into the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll all be better then.
But at what point are we willing to give up the rights that we hold dear? I mean, Alyssa's coming late to the conversation. Another comment: guns are made to kill. I don't understand why this is so difficult, because you're right, they are made to kill. But again, there are a lot of things that are not made to kill but do kill. There are some things that can be used to kill, but they're not. In the end,
that one doesn't float as much for me, just because, going to cigarettes. Like, cigarettes will kill you eventually if you smoke them for long enough.
From the first cigarette you took, you knew it was endangering your life.
Right.
And that's the way we've lived our lives.
But it's pleasant, and I enjoy it. And
right. And I enjoy firearms, so I'm going to use them despite the fact I'm going to use them
just because it can kill doesn't mean that it should be
right.
Like, I would not fucking appreciate if somebody if I left buying cigarettes and somebody threw them all in the drain.
Yeah.
It was just like, I took away something that would kill you.
That's what my dad used to do.
Yeah. I'd just be like, this is not helping your argument. This is not making me go like, oh, wow, I see your point now. Like, no, it
upsets me.
Yeah. It upsets me.
And now I need a cigarette.
Right. And the people who are, who can't see the forest through the trees on guns. I get where you're coming from. You think I'm a simpleton and I don't get it. But I'm saying that I understand. I would like to, for the purposes of planning a rebellion against the government, be allowed to have weapons. I agree. I think it's a wonderful idea. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, there are a lot of people dying because of guns.
Right.
And I would like to not only find the things that seem to make sense right away from 1,000 yards up of, mental health records or passing tests or having to prove that you're able to use the weapon or anything like that. But there are things that if we just had more information, mm-hmm. if we just made a database, an anonymous database with information, then we might be able to find more things that are willing concessions that lead to there being less gun deaths in this world.
How many gun deaths are there?
It doesn't involve anybody having Robert Cheek has 10 guns on a registry anywhere. It's just somebody in California has 10 guns.
Yeah.
And we'll be able to see the movement
run studies. All right. How many people are killed by guns in the United States every year?
Oh God, hundreds upon hundreds, thousands upon
about 13,000 people. Okay, so I get your argument.
Yeah.
We need to stop those kind of deaths. What's the number one killer of Americans?
Cholesterol,
obesity-related deaths.
Yeah.
So while we're addressing this gun issue,
maybe
we should take a look at some McDonald's, Burger King, all of these corporations that are essentially poisoning us.
Right.
Because when they drive up our cholesterol, when they are driving our weight up, when they're causing diabetes, especially type 2 diabetes, these things are endangering American lives. And About 600,000 Americans die every year by obesity-related deaths, as opposed to 13,000 for firearm deaths. So why aren't we making McDonald's illegal?
Real quick, this is going to have to be the last thing because I literally can't even anymore.
Okay.
One of the things I find the most amusing is the fact that there's still gun show loopholes in this country, and where you can go to a gun show or even something that's set up to be a gun show,
even though it's not really a gun show.
To purchase these weapons without having to wait 7 to 10 days. I think that's a pretty fair. Let's get rid of.
I'm agreeing with that.
Yeah.
And responsible gun shows, by the way, if you go to a good gun show, they will not do that.
Right.
What they say is that you will pay. You can pay for it now, and we have agreements with FFL dealers in every state. So you pay for it now. We'll run the background check. We're not going to even. There's no cost because you're buying it in the state. We'll ship it to the FFL dealer. You pick it up there. You're good. But that's what a responsible gun show does. But there is a loophole that allows people to abuse it.
Yeah.
Let's close the loophole. Let's do that. I'm fine with that.
So let me put it this way. There have been pushes along the way for people who are shocked by the obesity epidemic in America to push for caloric information on every single menu item across the entire country.
Right.
And that would very reasonably take care of a lot of the problem. Because if you went to McDonald's and you saw 15,000 calories next to a Big Mac, you might be less likely to purchase it.
Right.
And if this was everywhere, you would know what is a good number, what is a bad number. Obviously, by me saying 15,000 calories for a Big Mac, I don't know what these numbers mean.
Okay.
But if I saw them every day, maybe it would start hitting me. And then I would say, wow, that's a lot for a Big Mac. I should probably get something else, like a turkey sub.
So I like your example. So
but
instead of closing these loopholes, let's put on every the packaging for every gun how many gun deaths occur, what the statistics are for gun deaths.
Hold on, don't interrupt. I'm almost done.
Go ahead.
But a liberal reaction might be to push for this, right?
Right.
So why I think anonymous data would be the best course of action here is because it eliminates any auspices of being biased.
Okay.
Because it's just completely unfiltered information, and we can use it for how we need to improve the system. That way, you don't have to worry about requiring McDonald's to pay thousands of dollars a year to get caloric information on their food, and not have to pay the guy who is cooking on a turned over shopping cart in a cash only business to have it done for him, because it doesn't make sense for him to do it. He has one location that moves constantly. Yeah. But I'm saying he doesn't have to do this, and we don't expect him to.
Right.
But if we looked at it from way up high, we'd see that there's disadvantages for a company like McDonald's to operate as opposed to this guy. But if we're trying to make it even and fair, then we would.
You are getting way off the point.
I'm trying to make any kind of an argument. I'm just trying to end this.
Right,
I'm hoping if I keep making ridiculous arguments, you're just going to be like, "Hey, how about Harvey Weinstein?"
No. Here's my consolation. Here's my so you, as a person who doesn't like guns, wants to take my guns away because you see them as being dangerous.
I don't care about guns one way or the other.
I let you talk. You are okay with someone who isn't okay with guns taking my guns away because they're dangerous. I see McDonald's and other fast food as being very dangerous.
Yeah.
So I want to take it away from you because I want to save not the 13,000 people who are killed by guns in America. I want to save the 600,000 obesity-related deaths in America. So the day that we outlaw fast food and any unhealthy food, essentially, anything that is not good for you, is the day we'll give up the guns. Because otherwise, at that point, we're just going to say, fuck freedom whatsoever. Let's just write it all off.
We've done nothing but just randomly talk about things for the last 40 minutes. And
this is the point, is that you don't understand the love and why the freedom is important.
No, I don't.
And people don't also understand, they can't equate that. Yes, I understand. No, not everyone should have a gun. There should be limitations.
The longer we talk about it, the less I want to have a gun. I want people to have guns.
Good.
We've been going on for honestly, it seems like an hour about this thing, and all I can think of at this point is nobody gets guns anymore. That's become my mission statement. No guns ever.
Good. And nobody gets fast food anymore. Nobody gets anything that's dangerous.
Just no guns
anymore. Well, and that's fine.
Just no guns. Moving on.
but it's a foolish position to take. So it's a constitutional right.
Yes.
I will take away your right to speak with my gun if you try to take my gun away. How about that?
Fine.
Sure.
Do whatever you want. Just don't talk to me about it. I don't care. I mean, I don't care so much. Like,
why are you making arguments for taking away the guns if you don't care? Like, that makes no sense.
So, did you hear Harvey Weinstein got fired?
Yes, I did hear he got fired. It's a warning tale for me and the future of Hollywood. Because I don't know about you, but when I saw his picture, I was like, shit, that's like looking into the future. I mean, like, basically, even especially with this haircut, we kind of look like the same person, just like 30 years separately. So
I just hope that no woman confuses you on the streets of Hollywood and is like pig and throws red paint on you or something like that.
I mean, they might, but it'd be the most attention I ever got in the city of Hollywood, so I'm probably okay with that. But for those of you who haven't been paying attention to the Hollywood news, I suppose that maybe we're a little more tuned into it, being here in LA than other people.
No, it's a pretty big national story.
Pretty big.
Yeah.
Pretty big.
Yeah.
So Harvey Weinstein, the former head of Miramax and the now former head of the Weinstein Company.
Mm-hmm.
It was a well-kept secret,
not a well-kept secret.
No.
Everyone sort of knew.
But nobody said anything. It's like Bill Cosby all over again. Like, everybody knew and nobody said anything.
Yeah.
And what it took was a Hannibal Buress to be like, I mean, we can all admit, he drugged and raped girls, right? Like, everybody knows that. And basically the same thing happened with Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah. Much like I've been trying to do with, like, Terrell Suggs.
Okay.
Like, I'll just bring up his domestic abuse every once in a while. And then when people are just like, I'm burning his jersey because he hates troops. I'm just like, well, I'm burning his jersey because he dragged his wife in the running car. Like,
which we confirmed, actually, for two different stories.
Two different domestic abuse.
Yeah, that's two different events. But it's been well known that Harvey has had some weird sexual proclivities.
Yeah.
Voyeurism being one.
It's sort of been the don't be alone with Harvey because he'll do something. And there's even stories about like Harvey walking up to women and saying like how beautiful they are in like hallways of restaurants and then pulling out his dick and like masturbating furiously into a bush.
And ejaculating quickly, apparently.
Yeah.
So we've learned so much about it.
And so, like, yes, he's disgusting, and that's horrible. And if there's anybody who's still within the statute of limitations, they should think about filing charges, like, now-ish.
Yeah. Well, and apparently that most of the people who could file charges can't because they took payoffs.
Oh.
So
okay. Well, so you did that.
Yeah. But it's the situation where, a lot like Bill Cosby, where you take the money because Harvey Weinstein has a lot of pull in this.
Yeah, I mean, if
city.
If you went in front of a press conference to explain, like, there was some story I was flipping through the channels and I landed on TMZ. Mm-hmm. And there was something about Kevin Hart sleeping with some girl.
Instagram,
there's like a porno that they shot or something like that. Now it's out there. Yeah. But the second I saw her at the press conference and she's just like, I'm just an aspiring singer I'm just like, not anymore, honey.
Nope.
You're done.
Yep.
Out of Hollywood.
Sorry.
You just snitched on Kevin Hart. You're done.
He's a golden boy. What were you thinking?
Yeah. Even though Kevin Hart did the wrong thing.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
She might have done, I mean, I don't think there's really a right or wrong here. I don't think just because somebody is wrong, the other person has to be right. But yeah, your career is over because you snitched on Hart.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. If Harvey Weinstein came at me in a hallway, he's just like, you're so hot, and started beating off, then I would probably do what many women in the situation did, was just stand there uncomfortably,
let him finish.
Let him do it,
and
then try and get away as quickly as possible and never be in that situation again. You know, if you didn't care and you wanted to stand up for the injustice, then you would fight him, like you would take it to the police or court or something like that. But obviously nobody did, because he would be able to end your career just by going out and doing this sort of thing.
And apparently it happened with a reporter back in the late 90s, and
the reporter who wrote the story,
and her paper vetoed the story, because he's very litigious, and we don't want to. And even though we might win, we don't want to deal with it.
He, in fact, apologized for the way he's treated women.
Yes,
and then threatened to sue the New Yorker for the story.
Yeah.
So at the same time, he's sorry for what he did, but then also wants the the record to be corrected in some manner.
That is a brazen kind of shit. Like, I'm sorry, I'm an addict.
I will say this. I'm not let me state up front. I'm not in favor of the excuse, but it's interesting to find that this excuse has finally made it to the public space, which is I'm a man of a different time, right, and in the 60s and 70s, we used to slap the butts of women all the time, and it was acceptable. Okay. Yeah, and now it's unacceptable, and like, I'm just an old man and I don't know any better. Like,
I'm just an old man. Yeah,
just like if Granddad says darkies at the kitchen table, you're just like, Grandpa, Granddad, please don't say that. Like, I'm gonna act like you didn't say this right now, but like, can you just not do that at Applebee's anymore? Like.
Yeah. But it's now made it to pulling your junk out in front of women. Yeah. Which I don't know. Was there ever a time when it was okay to just pull your dick out in front of a girl?
I think really what made it acceptable for him was the fact that he was important enough that nobody would dare say anything about it.
Okay, true. Yeah.
I mean, if when we talked about Hef and we were talking about a complicated legacy of both empowerment and sexual deviancy in terms of like whether or not he's gone too far with women and stuff like that. For Hef, there was a different line. Hef in the 60s there was a different line than there is for most people.
True. Yeah.
And he, if you went out on a date with a girl and you brought her back to your place,
okay,
and you said, I'm going to surprise her by coming out of the bedroom naked,
right?
And
best move ever, worst move ever. Those
right. Yeah.
Options.
But I'm saying, like, I'm going to come out of the bedroom naked. And then if she sees me and goes like, oh my God, I need some of that, then good move. It worked.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, then potentially that's
very bad news.
Yeah. I mean, you could be charged for.
No, in my own apartment, I couldn't be. But
I mean, if you went to her, what if you went to her apartment?
Oh yeah, then it would be bad.
Okay,
yeah.
So yeah, there's a potential that there's a crime that has been committed there.
Yeah.
But really, it's just if it worked, nobody would ever think twice about it.
Yep.
And then if you do it 10 times and it works every single time, and then the 11th time you get arrested for it, you're probably gonna feel like, what the fuck?
I've done this so many times.
Yeah, there's never been a problem before.
But not okay.
No, I'm not saying it.
Especially not a guy who's in a position of power. Like, most of the people that he was influencing or doing these things in front of was people who relied on him for work, people who were looking to get work from him. Mm-hmm. So he used his power and influence to get this done. He's definitely out, right? There's no chance he gets another shot.
Oh, you mean gets out of movie jail?
Yeah.
Probably not. I couldn't imagine.
I mean, do you think if this had come out in 2003 when Miramax was like pounding out Oscar nominees, would it be different?
But I think this is the thing. Again, coming back to the same old touchstone. Yeah. We're so quick to make judgment on this.
Okay.
We're now in the age of so quick to make judgment.
Right.
If we're talking about in the 90s when he was releasing Chocolat and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, could this have taken him down? Yeah, sure, I guess. But I mean, like, one person coming out and saying something wouldn't have done it.
Right.
Because if any one thing doesn't necessarily mean anything if you're the most important person in Hollywood.
Sure. What if a bunch of people had come out?
Well, a bunch of people have to come out for that to happen. The thing is that a reporter came out and wrote a story detailing as many of these stories as she could possibly put together based off of basically rumor and innuendo that had been going around for years. Kim Masters was talking about how she's written stories about Harvey and she's been threatened to be sued.
Yep.
And you wouldn't want to come out with the one report.
Right. You want to have a lot of them.
Right.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to have what the New Yorker had, which was many stories detailing multiple decades of sexual abuse.
But again, my original question
you wouldn't in the 90s. You wouldn't get that many people to come out.
I mean, I think he's been around since the 60s.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying the shine at this point, the Weinstein. It's not Miramax anymore. It's the Weinstein Company, and the Weinstein Company's business isn't what Miramax in the 90s was.
Right.
So if you took a shot at Harvey in the 90s, then you're the only person standing on that ledge.
Okay. My point is, if the same story came out in the 90s, do you think he gets another shot? Because I think he's done now. because no one's ever going to trust him. They don't want him around anybody again.
What's stopping him from getting another shot is the pylon, not the thing. Like Mel. No,
I'm saying not communicating tonight. Again, same story comes out in the 90s.
Yeah. I'm saying the what has. If you get one problem, like one incident, you can get past it in Hollywood.
I feel like we're speaking different languages. Same story that came out today.
Right.
Comes out in the 90s.
Oh, okay.
All of the things
with the
being
number
equal.
of
yes, all of the things being equal.
Well,
because he's done now.
No, he doesn't get another shot.
Well, but he's done now because the Weinstein
I thought what
Company
you were
is
saying
nothing.
is if this sort
If
of
it
thing
broke then,
if
yeah.
this sort of thing started in the 90s,
No.
it would be one person's take on
Right.
what happened with Harvey. It wouldn't be. I
This is
didn't
a
read the
question
story,
about
but I'm
the
saying like
business.
15. If 15 people were mentioned in the New Yorker piece,
Yes.
it would have been one in the 90s.
I know, but here's my thing. Now the Weinstein Company is not anything spectacular.
Right.
And they probably don't even have the funds to like really give him the right polish and shine that he would need.
No.
But in the 90s,
but I mean,
Miramax
he can pay
did.
for it.
Right, but in the 90s, Miramax did. Same story comes out in the 90s. Do you think that this town is forgiving enough to a guy who's pumping out Oscars to bring him back?
No.
Even then?
No, not this.
Really?
No.
Okay. I mean, you must have more faith in the town than I do.
It would take a Herculean effort. Why I brought up the one point or the one case of it is because no matter how bad the one incident can be,
right?
If you make a full and determined comeback from it,
and don't threaten to sue them, in
yeah,
the
like
your apology.
Mel Gibson calls a woman sugar tits, a police officer sugar tits, and leaves like voicemails about threatening the Jews or like the Nazis were right and the Jews should be dead and everything like this. Like he can put all these incidents into the bucket of I had alcohol abuse problems.
Yeah.
And I would get way too drunk and I'd say things that I regret.
Right.
And I've gone to AA and I've cleaned myself up and I'm trying to be a better person. I would appreciate if you would forgive me for my previous sins. Then people can go, oh, okay, Mel Gibson did his time in movie jail.
Right.
He's allowed to come out now after 15 years. It took like 15 years for him to come back.
It didn't take 15. That was the mid-aughts, and now he...
2016 is when he released Hacksaw Ridge?
Yeah, but
the
he had
first movie that he directed of any kind of like major acclaim.
Passion of the Christ in 2009.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about that.
Yeah. He was in movie jail for like 4 years.
That was before that. No, it was right around then that he did the...
Right, so he was in movie jail for like 5 years.
I think Passion of the Christ was a lot longer than you think it was.
I don't think so, because I'm... Oh, wait, no, I was probably in law school. Yeah, so it was like 2008. I don't think so. Anyway, my point is this. I think that he's probably done. Harvey Weinstein is probably done.
2004.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
So Passion of the Christ came out in 2004, and then the Sugar Tits and the Nazis were right and everything like that came out like 2005, 2006, somewhere in that area.
And then 10 years.
Then he had directed things recently, like he directed The Beaver a year ago or whatever it was, but that didn't bring him back.
Hacksaw Ridge.
That just allowed him to direct.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still doing things up until then. And then he does a thing in, what was it, The Expendables? And then he's sort of like, he's back in the public eye a little bit more, and then he gets to do Hacksaw Ridge, and he gets nominated for an Oscar. Blah, blah.
Yeah. So he's back.
Yeah.
So 10 years. So
yeah, but
look for Harvey Weinstein around 2027.
One incident allowed him to come back.
Yeah.
If
It
there
wasn't
were,
one incident though. It was
one thing tied to another though. The alcohol abuse is what caused this.
Harvey's a sexual predator. He's a sex addict.
That's not gonna fly with Harvey.
That's what they're painting him to be.
Yeah, but that's not gonna fly. You don't get to. The problem is that if you make a argument that you're a sex addict and that's why you rape so many women.
He didn't rape anybody.
Well, that's why you
abused women.
Abused so many women. You're going to just open yourself up for Ashley Judd to go on CNN, who is one of the people mentioned in the article. Ashley Judd to go on CNN and go like, I did not sign up for, like, just because Harvey has an addiction doesn't mean that he's allowed to come into my hotel room naked and say that it's time for me to give him a massage. How dare he act like, like.
But again,
nobody's going to hear nobody's going to have the same reaction to Harvey saying he's a sex addict as somebody is going to say about Mel Gibson for alcoholism,
Yeah, but what? All right. I'll concede the point. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine. I still think he can make a comeback. He shouldn't be able to, but
I think that in order to, he would have to probably self-finance
something. Yeah,
many successful movies. Like if he could start writing checks to filmmakers right now. Yeah. To make the next.
I wouldn't do it now. Let it blow over.
I know. I mean, I'm just. When is acceptable? If he 2 years from now,
sure.
He from his own paycheck or from his own pocket funded 5 movies.
Yeah.
Over the next 5 years, and they won 5 Best Picture Academy Awards. There would be some sort of effort to try and find a way to let him back into the town.
The Weinstein Company, especially.
Yeah, they would say he's done his time. He's better now.
He's totally better.
Yeah, we castrated him.
We are putting policies in place where he'll never be alone with anyone ever again, and the whole 9.
But I mean, the problem is getting caught. That's what keeps you from getting back. Like the guy at Cinefamily, who was just found out to be abusing women in similar contexts, he's probably out forever. There's no second act for him. But Mel Gibson pays bills, so
right,
and he only did one thing, so he gets to come back.
He didn't do. You're remembering his one thing because it's so far in the past. But there was a summer where he was getting pulled over,
right? But it's all because of alcoholism.
All right.
The one incident was his alcoholism exploding. Right. Just like we're going to be able to say that Amanda Bynes had a one thing when she went loony there.
Right. Okay.
Just because there were different, there was one incident where she threw a computer out of a window in a 20th-story New York hotel.
But she had mental
that was part of the same mental issues that caused her to shave her head or whatever.
We're very early, and you're saying we shouldn't jump to conclusions. My point is, if he has one of the best lawyers, the woman who stands by sex assault victims is now his attorney in this case. If there's anyone who can beat him as
enjoy not working in that field anymore again.
Yeah, that's your last paycheck. I hope it was worth it.
What is it, Bloom?
Bloom? Yeah, Bloom? It's Gloria Allred's daughter.
Yeah.
Good God. Yeah. I hope you saved some money because you're not going to be working in that field at all.
It makes me think about the old expression, an unparalleled legacy in television. Like an unparalleled legacy in feminism. Just gone.
All gone.
All gone.
All gone. So both.
Sure, Harvey, I'll defend you.
Yeah, Harvey's now ruined 2 lives, his own and hers. Anyway. But if there's anybody who can get him back in the, listen, he has an addiction, he's dealing with it, it's her.
Yeah.
Because she's the one who's listen, I deal with these victims all the time. I believe him.
When Roberto and I were playing Madden earlier, at one point going into the 4th quarter, I was leading 38-10.
Okay.
I was telling him that if he wanted to catch up, he would have to score basically a touchdown every minute for the remainder of the game.
Okay.
And part of that minute would be taken up by me having the ball.
Right.
Harvey, to come back, would have to do a similar Herculean effort.
Right. Joe Montana in the 84 Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's
4 touchdowns in the 4th quarter.
It's a lot to ask.
Especially because he hasn't been doing it recently.
Yeah.
But now maybe he's motivated.
Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll find out. We'll find out if anyone wants to take the money. That'll be the more interesting part.
Who will work for him?
Well, I mean, because if I, just a thought to leave you with, but if Harvey came to me, he's just I saw your shorts and I really like it and I want to give you money for a feature.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I don't know if I want to be involved in this. It's money for a feature.
Yeah.
It's the way to get this thing made.
Yep.
It's guaranteed. I'm just gonna write you a check for $3 million and leave you alone. That would solve a lot of problems. But at the same time, when I have to go out and do a media tour and be Harvey financed the money, but he said it's so good, and it's well, did you hear about the story of Harvey when he whipped his dick out and masturbated in a bush? It's just yeah, I mean, we've all made mistakes.
He's better now. He's better now.
What am I supposed to say?
He's better now.
Yeah, but I made a really charming romantic comedy I think you'll enjoy.
If we could just focus on the picture, that would be great.
Yeah, there's only one rape scene in that one.
Oh, God. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, If you also want to be done with in Hollywood forever, there's one place you can go.
Listen to this podcast.
OTheAnthem.com, Corey at OTheAnthem.com, O The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line 443-219-7595.
What's the number again?
443-219-7595.
And you can find me on all your social networks at Robert N. Cheek. Make sure you check out robertncheek.com, where you can find links to the political blog, foundingthefuture.us, a dead drop, which is back once again.
With a vengeance.
Yes. So make sure you check out A Dead Drop. I know there's been so much political stuff. If you want a place where you can go and find news stories and cute stories and weird stories and a bunch of stuff that isn't political and isn't about whatever's going on in the world, really, all the hidden best stories of the web, you're going to find that at adeaddrop.com. ADEADDROP. There you go. .com. Ooh, yeah.
And it's like a soft opening, but there's plans.
Oh yeah,
there's things in the works.
Things are working up. But that's where you want to go to check out the story. So deaddrop.com. And of course, you can find links to the books that are available on Amazon.
Buy Rod's books.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I think we've done good here today.
We've done something. I don't know if it's good.
I think we spent about 40 minutes more than we should have talking about guns.
There's never too long to talk about guns. But as always, you're listening to the O The Anthem podcast, part of the O The Anthem digital network. For Corey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
My microphone is losing it. Bye.